I went to the range today specifically to shoot the Springfield Echelon. And I just found there was one thing that ruined it for me.
Let's get started.
All right, guys, today's my day off, so I just got back from the range. I wanted to pop in really quick and chat a little about my thoughts on a couple different guns: Springfield Echelon, Glock Gen 6, new guns from SIG, and then a couple more things too. More of a chill, laid-back video today. I'm going to be going over a couple things. I got my handy-dandy iPad. I wrote a couple things down, so we're going to make some stuff happen. Make sure to like and subscribe. Leave a comment if you have any questions, concerns, or suggestions, and let's jump right into it. I went to the range today specifically to shoot the Springfield Echelon, and there was just so many redeeming qualities about the Echelon that I quite enjoyed. And I just found that there was one thing that ruined it for me, and I'll deep dive into that here in a second. I want to touch on a couple things I loved. The way the slide is built was amazing. It's low profile, low bore axis, similar to a Glock. It's got good slide serrations. The slide has an indentation, so you can rack it from the front, and I'll put a picture of that up here. It's optics ready with, I would say, one of the better optics ready systems. You can use pins to mount different footprints. So like Delta Point Pro, RMSC, that type of stuff. I really enjoyed that. The slide stop slide release I found was a little too small to index comfortably in the beginning. Of course, you get used to it just like on any other gun, but it was noticeably smaller than I'm used to. Nothing really noticeable or noteworthy about the magazine release. It is ambidextrous, so you can swap that back and forth if you're left-handed. Pretty straightforward stuff there. The trigger was nice. Immediately what I noticed about the trigger was the reset is a bit different than what I'm used to. I've got a SIG 365, clear and safe, nobody get weird. What you'll notice if you shoot a 365, number one, it's got a flat face trigger. There is it's like almost a two-stage trigger. Very light take up, and then the wall, and then you break it 90 degrees. And then the reset is very tactile. You can hear it. There's no mistaking it. It's a really good reset. It's a hard reset. The actual trigger pull is kind of like a puh. Like when it goes off, it's kind of twangy, if that makes sense. But the reset is very crisp, very tactile. I can hear it over my hearing protection. It's a loud reset. And so shooting this is quite nice, especially in the scenario where you're not used to the trigger pull of the gun. Having a crisp, defined reset is nice to have. The Echelon did not have that. The reset was tactile, but very slightly. I almost missed it the first time. And it's not very audible at all. Not that that's particularly important, because if you're going to be shooting a gun in a self-defense scenario, you're probably not going to be listening for the trigger pull. You're really honestly probably not going to be feeling for the trigger reset, but it is nice to know. So the reset was much more lackluster than I would have expected. Overall, the trigger pull was nice. The flat face trigger is very nice. Ergonomically, the gun was amazing. It does come with the adjustable back straps. I had the medium back strap, and it was awesome. What I found, and this is true for most handguns for me, is that the gas pedal thumb ledge system, we'll call it, is too far out for my thumb to reach. So put it in perspective, this is a SIG 365X. When I have my support hand, just past the takedown lever is where I would ideally like the thumb ledge to be. With the Echelon, I almost found that I had to really reach intentionally for the gas pedal in order to get a good positive grip on it. And in doing so, it changed the angle of my support hand, which I didn't particularly enjoy. Not saying that's something I couldn't get used to, because 100% I could, but it's different from every other gun that I'm used to shooting, so I'm not used to shooting guns with those thumb ledges or gas pedals. I would have liked if they just backed it up half an inch. That way I could keep my hand straight. I wouldn't have to rotate it, if that makes sense. And that was the same for the Gen 6, the Gen 6 Glock, which we'll get into. But Echelon first, it was amazing. The one thing that stopped me from enjoying it, actually, you can see my thumb is still red from shooting that gun, is I have a more full-size gun, just so you can put it in perspective. This edge right here, where your thumb sits. So your thumb comes behind. That edge sits right on the bone of my thumb with the Echelon. And the reason is, if you look here, this gun gets thinner towards the top. You see it's got a skinnier neck and it flares out towards the bottom. The Echelon flares out towards the top, so it's thicker up here, meaning that this edge pushes into my thumb quite a bit. So when I've got the 365, it gets slimmer as it goes up, so it's much easier for me to hold on to. On the Echelon, it gets thicker, so it pushes right into my bone. And after about 50 rounds, I started to get a hot spot. I was like, oh, this isn't gonna work. Again, one of those things. Are you gonna shoot over 50 rounds in a row, back to back to back in a self-defense scenario? Most certainly not. I would be so unbelievably surprised if most people go through an entire magazine during a self-defense scenario, and statistics bear that out. They usually don't shoot more than 4 or 5 rounds. However, I want a gun that's gonna be fun to shoot. And so that killed it for me immediately. Everything else was amazing. Damn, it overheated. I wonder how that happened. So that was the thing that killed it for me for the Echelon. I was so excited to shoot that gun because it was everything the Glock Gen 6 wants to be. The grip texture is amazing. It's got the thumb ledge. It is a full-sized gun. You can now get it in the FC. The Springfield Echelon C is the compact, the F is the full, and the FC is like the Glock 45 equivalent, the full-size grip with the compact slide. They just came out with that, and you can get comped versions of all of those guns. So I think that it's overall an amazing platform if your hand allows for it. Me personally, it didn't gel really well, so no big deal. Just check another one off the list for me. Overall, I would say for me, it's closer to like a 6 out of 10, just because it's impossible for me to shoot a lot of rounds through. But for most people, I think that'll be like a 8 out of 10, 9 out of 10 gun. It's one of the best striker-fired polymer framed guns I've ever shot. For most people, if that makes sense. I think it's up there with the PDP. It's definitely better than a Glock ergonomically. I just hold the Glock better, which is weird because the Glocks, specifically Gen 5, are kind of bricks. They're very square. So you would think that it doesn't gel well with just my hand structure, but it just happens to feel fine. I shoot a Glock 45 better than I shoot most other polymer frame striker-fired guns. So it just so happens to be that my hands fit that gun better. Going to the Glock Gen 6. The Gen 6 was good. Same scenario with the gas pedal thumb ledge. It's just too far out on the frame for me to comfortably index, so I have to break my grip just slightly to reach it. And at that point, it's like, well, why don't I just get a gas pedal that sits a little bit further back, and then I can index it the correct way instead of having to break my grip over it. Which, if I was to get one, which maybe I will, that's probably what I would do. Slide stop, slide release is a little more pronounced for me, and I enjoy that. The grip texture is very grippy, much more than I was used to with the standard Glock, which is a good thing. That's one of the things I wish Glock would have done sooner, is the grip texture. The 365 I have here, you can see it's kind of worn down a little bit because it's very grippy, but you can hear like, it's like sandpaper. You could file your fingernails down on this probably. Very grippy. The Echelon, very similar thing. Gen 6, I would say it's almost as grippy, just a different texture. It's less sandpapery, and it's more of like an intentional grip rather than sandpaper. So I enjoyed it. The trigger felt a lot better than the Gen 5 that I've been shooting. However, I've been shooting rental Gen 5s. So what does that say? I'm really not sure. It felt a lot more crisp for sure. The gun itself, it's just a good package overall. $699, I might get a Gen 5 and wrap it with some skateboard tape. Honestly, that might be the move. So we'll see as far as that goes. I have some time to think about it. The finger groove underneath the trigger guard I thought would mean a little more to me, and it really doesn't. It wasn't a game changer. I never had a problem getting a high grip on a Glock. I really haven't. Like, I can grip those pretty high. The beaver tail was cool, but unnecessary. It didn't change the way I gripped the gun almost at all. I do like that it's optics ready. I do like that they changed the optics mounting system because it fits more footprints now, and it fits them easier in a more reliable way, so I enjoy that. Like most people, I'm interested to see the extractor longevity because that was one of the things that changed. But other than that, I don't have any concerns for the Glock Gen 6. For me, does it justify the extra $100 price difference that I can get between a Gen 6 45 and a Gen 5 45? After holding the gun, I don't think so. And then again, I haven't shot it, although from every review I've seen so far, it doesn't shoot drastically different. So I don't know. I'll have to ruminate on that one a little bit. A couple of things regarding SIG. They just did another partnership with Dan Horner with their 365 DH3. It comes comped with a 17 and 21 round magazine. It's essentially the 365 Fuse with a little bit of a Dan Horner twist. It's not much different. I think that's a cool gun. I don't see the reason to own it. I think if you're going to get like a sort of comped competition style gun, the 320 is better. But if you want like a weird kind of mix between concealed carry gun versus duty style gun. It's also comped, which is kind of weird. Then it's a good gun, I guess. It just doesn't, for me, I fail to see the market it appeals to. Again, I'm not an expert on this stuff, but it's not a carry gun. It's not a duty gun. It's not even really a race gun. It's just kind of this weird thing that SIG has. I think they're making a move to phase out the 320 by making the 365 a better full-sized option, and focusing more on the SIG 2011 and the 365 and kind of phasing out the 320. I think that they really burned the bridge. So we'll see. We'll see how people react to it. It's just another, $1,200, $1,400 365 that not a lot of people are going to enjoy. Like the 365 AXG Legion. They don't sell very well because it's a $1,500 365 X macro, and the only difference is the frame's metal, which for most people doesn't really make a ton of sense anyway because they're shooting a small gun. It's going to be snappy. But then again, what do I know? One thing I've been thinking about a lot, and a question I have for you guys, what do you think is the most viable round for home defense? Right now I've got a couple handguns and a pump action 12 gauge shotgun, which seems to work just fine. Nobody's tried to break in yet, knock on wood. So that's the question I have for y'all. Let's jump into some comments from some of my previous videos really quick, and we can go from there. New York Glockinator said, great review, just picked up a 365X and I love it. I also have a 43X that I also love. In regards to the rusting issue, it's very easy to prevent. If I carry it on a humid day, I just wipe the magazine down with a silicone cloth, not a speck of rust. Also find the magazine release to require some practice. So this was in response to a video I did regarding the 365, and there's been some reports of the gun rusting. I conceal carry this gun every single day, and I have for 6 months now. And there is not a speck of rust on this gun. And I can show you, I'll take it down really quick. You can look inside here. There's no rust, even on the more like high friction, high traffic areas. Looks super nice. I cleaned this gun semi-recently, so there's no grime in the way. You can really see inside of there. Here, I'll even take the barrel out for you. Barrel's good, no rust, no weird stuff. Even on the wear marks inside of here, pretty clean, pretty smooth. For those of you that are gonna ask, magazines, a little bit of wear and tear on them, but still no rust on these either. Pretty good so far, nothing really to complain about. One thing I want to touch on is I don't do a ton of reloads. I don't have an outdoor range, I have an indoor range only, so I don't draw from a holster. I don't do tactical speed reloads or anything like that. I do a little bit of that during dry fire, but again, it's a little bit different because you're really not under like a high pressure situation, no shot timers, anything like that. So maybe if I put a little more wear and tear on my magazines, maybe they would rust. I really don't think so, but I'm sure it's possible. But that's just what mine looks like right now after 6 months and about 1,000 rounds of use. Mr. Habergit said, great video. I noticed you're doing press checks even though the 365X has a loaded chamber indicator, LCI. Is that mainly out of habit, muscle memory, or are there specific tactical reasons why you prefer it over the indicator? Great question. The previous gun I had before this didn't have a loaded chamber indicator, so I'm used to checking. Another thing too that I find is that after you put the magazine in, you rack it, right? It's easier for me to just pull it back ever so slightly and check if there's a bullet in there, rather than trying to look through this really dark square to see if there is a bullet in there. You can look at your extractor too, because it'll be completely flat because the round pushes this part of the extractor up so it's flush with the gun. But again, it's just a lot of work to have to make sure that it's completely flat when you could literally just pull it back a ton. I mean, it's so little effort and I can check easy. It's a good question. I'm sure most people who do it correctly probably just look at the loaded chamber indicator, but for me, it's dark. I don't want to look in there. Make sure I'm not pointing the gun anywhere weird. Check to see if there's a bullet. It's just not something I want to do. Put the magazine in, rack it, boom. It's easy. Defying Entropy 41 said, love all my SIGs. If I'm with someone and she takes care of me and never hurts me, why would I suddenly not trust her just because of somebody else's experience? I guess that's a reference to the SIG 320 fiasco. I love my SIG too. I like it a lot. I'm not going to sell my 365s because the 320s are having issues. I'm just not going to buy a 320. You know what I mean? So I'm kind of in that same boat. Like, I'm not going to get rid of the SIG I currently have because other SIGs have had issues. I just won't buy those other SIGs. Rat Lip with 2 Ps said the 320 is perfectly fine. They do not fire themselves. An online witch hunt was investigated or instigated by Glock fanatics when SIG got that military contract. Nothing more. I don't know if there's any validity to that. I think that's really funny. It would be really funny if it was true. But Here's the thing. I've shot the 320. I enjoy the 320. I wouldn't point it at my balls. That's pretty much it. Limited 10-round magazine capacity really sucks. Yes, it does. I'm not going to disagree with you there. All right. That's pretty much all I have for you. Let me know if you guys have any questions, suggestions, or comments for me in the comment section down below. Make sure to like and subscribe before you leave. Let me know again what's your favorite home defense setup /round/gun. And make sure to tip your barber. Peace.